All religion is separation. It's ego, 100%. What religion does is it gives you another show for you to be a part of so that you could feel that you have the answer and they don't. When you open yourself to real spirituality, you understand that a lot of the beliefs that you once believed maybe, just maybe, aren't the actual truth. And the very thing that has you believing you're right and they're wrong has been created by an energy that was caused to keep us separate from the truth.
Because we're following a kind of a blueprint of someone else.
Which keeps you in belief and not knowing.
This message is for all the Haitians. So if you're not Haitian, please scroll away. Okay, now that I have all the Haitians here, we need to understand this thing right here. We need to move away from the blue and red flag and embrace the black and red flag, Noir et Rouge, which is the original flag of the Empire of Haiti. The reason why, and I know I'm not talking about the black and red flag with the coat of arms in the middle, with Jean-Jacques Dessalines' coat of arms in the middle, with Toussaint Louverture's coat of arms in the middle, with Emperor Faustin's coat of arms in the middle. No, the black and red flag is just that, black and red. The reason why is because it has a spiritual significance, a spiritual importance to it. The blue and red flag that we see today was fabricated by foreign powers, okay? And that has a spiritual significance as well, but it's not in a good way. It is not in a good way. Because if you pay attention to it, you have the palm tree that sticks out, the green palm tree in the middle. But under the palm tree, you see cannons under the palm trees. The reason why this is spiritually significant in a very negative way is because it symbolizes the suppression of energy in Haiti. It symbolizes the suppression of the revolutionary spirit of Haiti. And that is part of the reason, amongst other reasons, why Haiti is in the situation that it is today. So when you say that you are a Haitian, you have to use the black and red flag. Don't use the emoji, the common blue and red flag emoji. No. Because that has a lot of negative spiritual energies attached to it. The black and red flag is a flag of respect. It's a flag of an empire. And if we want to hold ourselves as a dignified people, we need to re-embrace that black and red flag, Noir et Rouge.
George Floyd called out for his mother. Eric Garner said he couldn't breathe, brother. Tamir Rice, just a boy in the park with a toy gun. Trayvon Martin, Skittles in his pocket. Never made it home, they say justice, but we still waiting. Another life gone, another mother praying. Another candle in the wind, another hashtag trend. But the pain don't end, no, the pain don't end. Say their names, say their names, say their names. Don't let silence take the blame. Say their names. They were loved, they had dreams, they were more than what it seems. Say their sleeping in her bed. Sandra Bland with questions left unsaid. A Tatiana Jefferson playing games at night. Breccia Boyd lost in flashing lights. They don't say her name the same way. Don't march as long, don't cry as loud, don't stay. But she was somebody's baby too, and her life mattered just like you. Just when it's true. story. For the truth don't get buried without glory.
Support the preservation of a vital cultural tradition. Vodou faces erasure and misrepresentation in today's world. Your support ensures Vodou's future and cultural integrity. Help preserve this vital culture today. Support the preservation of a vital cultural tradition. Vodou faces erasure and misrepresentation in today's world. Your support ensures Vodou's future and cultural integrity. Help preserve this vital culture today. Support the
Honor and respect, honor and respect, divine all blessed honor and respect. Greetings and salutations. It is another edition of Revolutionary Hoodoo, New Orleans Vodou Secrets and Recipes. Voodoo Hoodoo 101. Powered, produced, promoted, sponsored, and supported by NOIVD, New Orleans International Vodou Day. New Orleans International Vodou Day exists to restore rightful dignity, authority, and global recognition to the Vodou and Voodoo family of traditions. The mission, purpose, and motives behind New Orleans International Vodou Day forms a single, coherent vision to protect, unify, elevate Vodou, and Voodoo as living world traditions with deep ancestral, cultural, and spiritual authority. This mission frames NOIVD not as a festival, but as a cultural embassy for Vodou worldwide. NOIVD responds to the urgent needs of the moment, a time when Voodoo is simultaneously sought after while yet misunderstood and misrepresented. Its purpose unfolds across several dimensions: NOIVD exists to protect the traditions from harm. NOIVD confronts misrepresentation in the media, exploitation by uninitiated practitioners, cultural theft and commodification, historical trauma and colonial narratives. And by establishing standards of authenticity, NOIVD becomes a shield for the traditions and the communities that carry them forward. NOIVD serves as a platform for public teaching, ceremonial demonstration, scholarly dialogue, youth and community education. And it ensures that what the world learns about Vodou comes from real practitioners, not stereotypes or outsiders. To strengthen international cultural diplomacy through partnerships with the Republic of Benin, Haitian cultural spiritual leadership, and certainly New Orleans spiritual institutions, and the global diaspora community. NOIVD positions Vodou as a legitimate world religion with diplomacy, perseverance, and cultural power. And we continue to invite your continued support, participation, visitation, promotion of these events, donations, and sponsorship of this powerful legacy and expanding international endeavor. Please do continue to visit us for connection and more information about participating, volunteering, and supporting our symposium, our Afroecology exhibit, our art exhibit on Saturday, May 23rd, and our sacred procession from the river to Congo Square, where we will have our formal voodoo ceremony on May 24th, Sunday, May 24th. We're also thankful for your continued support and participation on all social media platforms. And for those of you who participate and support this podcast live in chat and always in archive at your leisure and convenience. And do join us now live on platform with your mic, camera, and photo avatar by way of the QR code in the upper left corner of your screen or the scrolling URL code that will be presented at the bottom of your screen. Please do continue to visit us for more information and connection and updates by visiting us at www.vodouday.org, www.vodouday.org. And tonight we continue our ongoing conversation and discussion, the spirits of New Orleans voodoo. And again, we're always grateful for your continued support and participation, certainly here live on platform by way of a social media network near you or by way of our QR code or the scrolling URL. Thank you so kindly, Daniel Neal, community member here on the ground as well as in the virtual space. We appreciate your continued support, love, and participation. Love 1901, we certainly appreciate your continued support and participation here on platform. Elder Reggie, we know as Green Soap, leader and founder of Shrine in the White Cloth. We will be unmuting you momentarily. Committed co-administrator of NOIVD. Our beloved Apostle Hudson, 1963, committed community member and participant here on platform. And we certainly look forward to hugging your neck come May 23rd and 24th. We are certainly grateful for our beloved brother and house member, Jeff Austin, initiated member of La Source Ancien en 4 and a committee member for NOIVD. We certainly appreciate your participation and support here on platform. And certainly thank you so much, Shahid Ali, for continuing to show up, support, and participate. Our beloved Queen Mother, Sister Tony Val Martinez, community activist, community mother, community resource person, community agitator, and Ray Alexander. We certainly appreciate your continued support and participation. We certainly appreciate your clarifying your connection. We now have you on stage. And again, our beloved Elder Reggie Green Soap, we will be unmuting you momentarily. And our Queen Mother, Sister Bianca Johnson Plessy, initiated member of La Source Ancien en 4 and a committed team member for New Orleans International Voodoo Day. Again, we're certainly grateful for your continued support and participation, and I will be unmuting you all momentarily after we have a quick monologue to reintroduce tonight's ongoing conversation for the week. invoking the spirits of New Orleans, old and new, past and now present. Give me a moment here, y'all. We're going to try something just a little bit different. Greetings, greetings, beloved. It is another edition of Voodoo Hoodoo on the Line. New Orleans, city of crossroads, city of memory, city of spirits who never left, the spirits who just arrived. Tonight, as we open this space, we call forward the ones who walk with us, the one whose names are carved into the bones of this land, the new ones who have risen from our lived experience, struggle, our joy, our survival, our ever-evolving culture. And because here in New Orleans, the spirit world is not a distant realm. It is a neighbor, a companion, a witness, a participant. And here, the veil is not a curtain. It is a door that swings both ways. And so tonight we begin on the breath of the ancestors. Before there were streets, before there were wards, before there were brass bands and second lines, there were the ancestors, the ones who came from Lida, from Dahomey, from the Congo, the Yoruba lands, Senegambia, and the great kingdoms of West and Central Africa. They arrived in chains, but their spirits arrived unbroken. They carried Voodoo in their bones, carried the Loa in their breath, carried the mysteries in their dreams. When they touched this soil, this swamp, this river, this humid cradle, the spirits touched it with them. The land remembered, the water remembered, the people remembered. And so the old spirits rooted themselves here, adapting, transforming, becoming New Orleans spirits, not copies of Africa, not echoes of Haiti, but something born of this place, this history, this people, the spirits of this city. And tonight we invoke them. We invoke the spirits who walk the French Quarter at dawn when the streets are still wet with last night's laughter. We invoke the spirits who sit on porches in Treme, rocking in chairs that never creak, watching over the children who run past. We invoke the spirits who dance in Congo Square, where the drum never truly stopped. It just changed hands. We invoke the spirits who rise with the river fog, who whisper through the oaks, who ride the rhythm of the brass band as it turns a funeral into a resurrection. We invoke the spirits who guard the crossroads, the literal ones, the spiritual ones, the ones inside of us. We invoke the spirits who came with our ancestors and the spirits who were born right here in the gumbo pot of cultures, in the fire of resistance, in the heartbeat of this city. Old spirits, new spirits. New Orleans is a place where spirits evolve, where the old Loa learn new songs, where the old mysteries take on new masks, where the spirits of the city, the musicians, the midwives, the doulas, the freedom fighters, the Mardi Gras Indians, the healers, the hoodoo doctors rise to join the pantheon. Here, the Loa are not frozen in time. They grow with us. They change with us. They respond to our needs. The spirit of the storm, the spirit of the street corner, the spirit of the second line, the spirit of the kitchen pot, the spirit of the protest march, the spirit of the healing circle, the spirit of the ones who lost too soon. Old and new, ancient and emerging, rooted and rising. This is the living cosmology of New Orleans. And we invoke them today. We invoke them tonight. We invoke them because the world is loud and the spirits help us hear. We invoke them because the world is heavy and the spirits help us carry. We invoke them because the world is changing and the spirits help us adapt without losing ourselves. We invoke them because New Orleans is not just a city. It is a spiritual ecosystem, a crossroads of the seen and unseen, a place where the ancestors still speak and the spirits still answer. And in a time when people are searching for meaning, for grounding, for truth, the spirits of New Orleans offer clarity, offer protection, offer direction, offer balance, opening the way. So tonight, as we begin this episode, tonight, as I invite my beloved co-hosts and panelists to unmute and join the conversation, tonight, as we begin, we open the way. We open the way for the old spirits, the ones who carried us here. We open the way for the new spirits, the ones rising from our lived experience. We open the way for the listeners, those who know, those who are learning, and those who are remembering. We open the way for the work, the healing, the teaching, the correcting, the reclaiming. We open the way for New Orleans International Vodou Day, our symposium and our sacred ceremony and procession from the river to Congo Square, for the mission, for the movement, for the global family of Vodou, and Voodoo traditions who stand together in truth and authenticity. May the spirits walk with us. May the ancestors guide us. May the city bless us. And may the work be worthy. Ashe, Ayibobo, merci, Mbute. And again, I invite my beloved panelists and co-hosts to unmute and join the conversation with your experience, your contributions, your questions, your comments, and certainly those who are alive now with us in chat. Brother Shahid Ali, please unmute and come on in. The Queen Mother, Sister Tony Val Martinez, please unmute and join us. Ray Alexander, please do come on in. LB Reggie, Green Soap, thank you so much for joining us again tonight. And our beloved Bianca Johnson Plessy. Good evening, beloveds. What say you and how you doing?
Good evening.
Wow. Wow. Very powerful. Wow. Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. How you doing? And to the panel and the listening audience. So glad to see our returning panelists tonight. When you were saying on last night about I think Brother Tyson asked why we thought so many spirits was in this city actively, and you said because the city has so much of the same stuff that was here when those ancestors were alive. I mean, it's known that we have buildings that are still being used and fully used that's over 150 years old. Like the electrician told me that the frame to the slave pens was still holding up the HR department for the Monteleone Hotel. And he said that was some hard wood. He said even the termites didn't want to mess with it. But that's how I knew that the frame was still up there, because of the electrician. He and I would talk. Our city is just so full of the original, like Congo Square. You know, some stuff had dirt piled over it to even it out because it sank in some places. But so much of the original land is still there. You know, one time I had to leave my youngest daughter at home. She was like 8. She said, "Who gonna watch me?" I told her the ancestors and just left it at that. Today she 33 years old. I asked her how she knew how to cook that. She told me the ancestors told her. I said, "All right now." I never explained to her what I meant by the ancestors, but eventually she caught on. So yes, we have a full city. The spirits walk with us, both good and bad. We have to protect ourselves. What say you, Elder
Mhm.
Reggie?
Thank you, Sister Tony. Divine Prince. Excellent, excellent. I had goosebumps as you was going through your soliloquy, but to the collective audience and everyone, I really, really appreciate this. Only thing I like to add to the spirit of New Orleans, there's a name I'm gonna bring up, and I know you guys might not be familiar with it, but as Divine Prince said, we're invoking spirit. And the spirit name that I want to bring up, his name was Henry Louis Ray, and Ray is spelled R-E-Y. Right before the Civil War, during and after the Civil War, until he died in 1888, he was one of the foremost spiritualists in the New Orleans area. He consulted spirit constantly on all matters of things that was going on that he felt that wasn't right in the city of New Orleans. Because he is a spiritualist, you're not going to really hear of him too much of around the voodoo hoodoo areas. But nonetheless, he's a spirit that I do invoke sometimes to get things done in the city of New Orleans. But what they sort of a legacy, and it's called working the spirit in New Orleans. And they say you better work that spirit. So even today, if you call for the spirit, let's say you call for Black Hawk, you need change. You call for his shoe, Ogu, whoever you may need. Don't just call them. You got to work that spirit. And that used to be a real powerful, popular word around the city of New Orleans. I don't hear it as much no more. But let's move forward with let's work the spirit. If we're going to invoke the spirit, let's work the spirit.
And particularly if you're invoking ethnocultural deities like Orisha or Voodoo or Loa, there are multiple paths and identities for Eshu. There are multiple paths and avatars for Legba. So that sort of, general invocation may not quite be enough to create and recreate the space that you need and to protect you within the confines of that space that you require. And one more thing I want to add before I move on. I sort of have a gift, a thing for working with the spirits of a land, of an object, of a place, of a location. And particularly when it comes to housing, I tend to be called to and find some of the oldest housing in the city, in the 30 years that I've been here. I started uptown in a very historic neighborhood and community up until Hurricane Katrina sort of forced us out. When I returned, I again moved uptown, somewhere quite near the beginnings of where many of you identified the Mardi Gras parade route starting and beginning in a very old mansion that had been converted into residential apartments. And someone upstairs, some of you have heard me tell this story, left a pot on the stove and went to sleep and set the house on fire. And I was forced to move to Loyola and Washington across from Lafayette Cemetery number 2. In what was a former slave house or not far removed from that. Very old property, old structure, old wood floors, old unique wood walls. It often reminded me of what you would see in the movie uh, Skeleton Key. When they pan those rooms and you see that very unique paneling that's specific to New Orleans. It was in this house. And I would, under the direction of the Queen Mother, I learned that when you move into these locations, you never move everything. There might be, a button and a penny, in the back of a closet. There might be certain items, that might be left that should not be disturbed as they would unsettle the spirits of that house, that ground, that land. And I've always maintained that habit, that tradition, whenever I've had to move here in the city. So now I'm in historic Treme, probably in one of the original houses to this community, former slave plantation, turned into the first free Black neighborhood in America here in Treme. And so my walls, are not board and plaster. My walls are brick and lumber. The structure of my house is brick and lumber. The floors are hardwood. My ceilings are lumber, slats, lumber wood. And it contains spirits that I acknowledge, that I feed, that I placate, and that I do not disturb. So I invite the continuation of this topic in this conversation, and I'm certainly grateful for the advice I've gotten over the years from Sister Tony, having grown up here in the city, and certainly the influence that Elder Reggie has had on me in the last few years, through his own experience here with the Black Spiritualist Church in history, but also having, that connection to the outskirts, the more rural areas, unincorporated areas of our region.
Yeah, when I moved on Bayou Road in Durgeon Ward, right on the corner house, when I moved in there, they had a big picture window, and they had the most unsightly piece of cloth covering up that picture window so you couldn't look into it. So when I set up my house and people came over, they was like, "Girl, why you still got that rag hanging at your window?" I was like, it's going to stay up there too until the spirit tell me to take it down. And I kept that cloth up there for almost a year, and it just fascinated people. And I had to tell them, I found it here. It's so big, and I'm not moving it. And I was fine in that house. I mean, they had spirits in there. They tantalized the neighbors next door. They played with the neighbors next door really bad. But if you go in, even if it's dust in a corner and you sweeping your floor and you find a pile of dust where it looked like somebody else swept it in the corner and left it there, just leave it there for a little while. Don't get rid of everything in the house, because it's gonna be the familiar object in that house to those spirits. It's what they're familiar with. It's what makes them comfortable. You can't come in there and put everything new in there and confuse them. Some of them take it the wrong way. Now, if you move into a brand new house, well, just built, you probably won't find stuff like that. I had a girlfriend, she said, "Oh, I found this big old heavy cross, and it's made out of iron. It's a decorative cross, and it's not the kind of cross you normally see in church, but it's still a cross." I say, "Girl, leave that up there." She put it on the wall. She said her son came in there and said, "Why you ain't throw that away?" She said, "'Cause Tony said put it on the wall." And she said it was solid iron. I said, "Girl, put that back up there. Whoever left that in that house left it for you to leave in that house. So put it back up there." What say you? Brother, one of the new members, I can't really see y'all name. Y'all have anything to add, Ray Alexander or Brother Saeed?
Yes, I have something to add to that. I'm actually really glad that Elder Divine Prince Ty brought up spirits of place. In my practice, that's primarily what I work with outside of my ancestors, some of the local spirits. So if I ever need any healing or cleansing, I always go to the river outside my house. If I ever need to feel like I need like protection, security, I'm always talking to the spirit of my home. I like as if it was a person. I like going to like the spirit of the railroad whenever I need something, to move, whenever I need a change, or even to the spirit of the marketplace. So I just really am glad to actually hear a lot more of like the spirits of place. You always hear a lot about deities, but as of right now, like I said, I'm working primarily with like my ancestors and the spirits of like the local spirits.
I have a question. While we're talking about
Mhm.
like invoking spirits and stuff like that. My question is for you guys. So everywhere we go, there's spirits everywhere. And when some people have like different ceremonies or just whatever the situation may be, when we're talking about invoking spirits, depends on what spirits we invoking. Um,
Mhm.
do you have to like do you have to be in the sacred, because like the old ways and the new ways, so like the old traditional ways is like you have to be like in the sacred space. We have like the different symbols, different things that we do as a community or as a group to invoke or call on to these spirits in different sacred places, even if it's temples or backyard ceremonies or a building or anything that's like a place where we will go as a whole or one person community, or just even if it's a space in the house that you will call your sacred space for that, or in public, like what Alexander was saying, that going to the river or something. Are you able to go out in public, like you just in public and there's like a space, you want to invoke spirits and stuff that way? Or do it have to be in the sacred space area?
For me, a person, I don't know about anyone, but for me, so typically feel like my spirits and my ancestors are constantly are with me, and so when I go to like the river, I have an extremely good. My relationship with spirit is more relational than I would say like invoking or evoking, and so I feel pretty comfortable going to building the relationship I have with like the local spirits that are within my vicinity. And I feel pretty confident about the elders, like my great grandmother, her spirits always watching over me, and my great great uncle, his spirits always. So I've kind of built a relationship with some of my family members that's better them in the afterlife than it was, to be honest, in the flesh. But life is funny. If I was going beyond those spirits, or if I felt like I was going to a spirit where like it was a sick, like a river that had trauma, or like a sickness, or like was polluted or something, I feel like that would be different. But I haven't felt like, as of right now, beyond like I wear talismans and stuff like that, and I always do spiritual baths, but I haven't felt like I've been dealing with anything requiring that as of yet. But I do know how.
I believe, as I was taught, and I continue to teach, that the creation of sacred space is essential to all that we are, all that we do, who we claim to be. So creating sacred space, certainly first within our mind, our body, our emotions, our heart, our spirit, but then the creation of space appropriate to the moment and the place. Certainly some of us have ritual space, sacred space, shrines, altars, within our homes, within our businesses, within our spiritual domains, certainly within the community. And there are deities that we invoke communally, certainly in Congo Square on a Sunday afternoon, or at the source on a Saturday night, as Bianca was sort of describing, shrines, altars, certain signas, certain veve, a particular sequence of order, but certainly individually, personally, I don't invite people to seek to invoke spirits. And this is sort of in line with what Elder Reggie said, that you don't have a relationship with, that you don't know, and,
Mhm.
and that don't know you. I support what Ray Alexander just said. Start with your ancestors. As one of my godmothers, Mama Yeye, may she rest in her room, used to tell us, "Baby, you just getting by on your ancestors. All the magic and ritual work and prayer and ceremony that many of us are doing, particularly untrained, unguided, uninitiated, unmentored, unresearched, unstudied. Uh, Baby, you just getting by on your ancestors. It is indeed our ancestors that are our front line of defense to warn, to protect in the creation and the recreation of our reality. And this is not voodoo philosophy. This is supported by science. Uh, that ancestral memory survives in the blood at least 11 generations. So not only do they pass down that heart disease and that diabetes and that trauma, and sometimes the generational curses, but they also pass down the blessings, the talents, skills, the ancestral memory that we seek for our very survival, but also for the creation of reality that best mirrors our interests. So, at first and foremost, certainly call on your ancestors, both known and unknown, to intercede on your behalf, always in your best interest.
Ashay, I have a question. Uh, for like greetings to everyone and everyone who's listening.
Greetings.
Greetings. There may be those who are listening that are kind of afraid of this, you know, but this is natural. Like I've lost relatives, and they come to my dream. They'll come in my dream. They'll sit on my bed, you know. Um, my uncle was a jokester. He had passed from cancer, Ashay. My uncle Andre Ashay, and he was always a jokester with me. So he had transitioned, but he came in my room as I was laying in the bed. I was like, you know, catching a nap, and he was playing with my leg, like, and he you know, scared me, you know. But then I had, so I think what I'm trying to say is that it's just natural, right? And to start with your ancestors, because they're connected with you when you're cleaning the house a certain kind of way, or when you're cooking a meal that your ancestors like. So I'm trying to, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to merge with those people, those listeners that are new to this or new to this path, this journey, but they can feel it within their DNA. They know they can feel it, and they've been visited by their ancestors. What advice can we give to them?
A lot of
If I
people.
could chime in, please.
Go ahead, Brother Elder.
Yeah, if I could chime in, and it's kind of a slight continuation from last night. If what a person can do if they're out in the open space around water, a park, or whatever, and as Sister Bianca talked about last night, you could take some of your cologne or perfume for a woman and just kind of put it like a circle around yourself, and that wherever you're at, you could create sacred space there. And when you tell the spirit world you're creating sacred space, for some unknown reason, they'll honor that. They'll honor that. So now to you, Shahid, if a family member is visiting and people are uncomfortable and it's a new way of life, hey, maybe they could take some perfume also and make a circle or powder, something of a sweet scent. Because when the sweet scent is there as oral factor, and spirits who once lived as human can also continue to smell. So with that being said, always try to create a buffer, a small sacred space. And that allowed the communication with the ancestors to go backwards and forward. And what we call familiar spirits or monitoring spirits or spirits of no good from entering into the conversation in the work that you're trying to do.
Ashay, thank you know, because it's like they come to me a lot. So I'm thinking maybe it's something like, and that's why I'm on this path to learn. I'm here to learn because it's like I know y'all can feel me, and for those who listening who may be new to this path or been feeling it for a long time, me about 10 years now, maybe 15, but just before you kind of scared, like what's happening, what's going on, right? So that's, I know a lot of people feel that way, but it's what I'm seeing is it's natural. And I know because every time they come to me and I dream about them all the time.
And we're
Indeed,
gonna
not
have
only
to.
is
Go
it
ahead.
natural, it is indeed nature. And I like to remind us all that something that both Elder Reggie and I do, but I often give Elder Reggie the charge to do so, is to honor and acknowledge, first and foremost, the spirit of nature, the ground you're standing on, the water that flows in us and around us, the air that moves, in between the worlds, and certainly the realm of spirit, for protection, to strengthen your grounding, but also strengthen your frequency to higher forces than just those common spirits that might be around. And as our beloved in the Instagram chat mentioned, she was taught, as I was taught, to always try the spirit by the spirit. because as Elder Reggie suggested, if you just open up a door, a portal, again, without much experience, not necessarily being specific about your call, you invite all manner of darkness to light. You invite all manner of light into the space. And as Sister Tony was attempting to remind us, we've certainly run out of time, but we're certainly grateful for all of your continued support and participation. We love the motivation and the energy you all are bringing to sort of the new formatting, maintaining a general topic from Monday through the Friday, which kind of allows people to maybe do some research, maybe go through their memory, their experience, and bring that to the conversation. We certainly appreciate the participation and the increase in panelists. And thank you so much again to those who show up live here in chat, those who I mentioned earlier. And certainly thank you so much, Sean, John Wynn, 771, for joining us again tonight. We certainly are thankful for your participation and your support. And certainly Cosmic Horror Hole, we appreciate you for coming through tonight. Black Sacrifice, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Moon Goddess Tarot 333, we appreciate you. And the two others who joined. Marcel Luspitman, we certainly appreciate you. I hope I said that right. Cash joined us. We certainly appreciate you. Key Jones 610, thank you so much for coming through. Empress Neomar, greetings and salutations to you and yours. Brother Nature joined us. Greetings to you and yours, beloved. Vontizi joined us. Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate you. Mermaid Botanica, greetings to you and yours, and much prosperity. Certainly, again, building with Shahid, we appreciate you joining and becoming a panelist and a frequently reoccurring panelist. We certainly appreciate you. Beloved, I still just cannot work out your name, but I certainly appreciate you. GIUSCPPECOSSENTINO official. I can't pronounce it, but I certainly appreciate you for joining us. Brother Nature, greetings and salutations to you and yours again. Solomon Chisholm, my beloved godson, I certainly appreciate your continued support and participation. And one of my beloved agents and friends on the Hunt Casting, thank you so much for coming through and dropping a footprint. Paul Twin, greetings to you and yours. We certainly appreciate you. Celesta Chicato, I believe. Arte, we certainly appreciate you for coming through. Demario, the artist, thank you so much for your continued support and participation. And Ms. Betty Magnolia, thank you so much for coming through. And again, we invite your continued support and participation at 9 p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time on a platform near you or by way of the QR code scrolling in the, in the top left corner of your screen with a little ducky head on it, or by way of the URL code scrolling at the bottom of your screen or the top of your screen, depending on the device you're on. And we invite you to continue to join us Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time. And I am now turning the platform over to our beloved Elder Reggie for our closing remarks, our closing announcements, and to give our benediction. All is truly and indeed a blessing. Ayibobo.
Thank you so much, Divine Prince. Yes. We have a GoFundMe, NOIVD, New Orleans International Voodoo Day GoFundMe. Please go to GoFundMe, /Prince, #hair, HAIR, #12th of February. Please support what we are doing. Our next new moon ritual ceremony and application is June 14, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. That location is 710 Clewood Street. It's a ritual spiritual warfare ceremonial gathering. It occurs with the moon in Gemini projecting an energetic tone, airy, communicative, mentally active, crossroad energy, new ideas, new conversations. New pathways are opening. We invite your participation as we continue to fight the wicked system and the powers that be. And we are seeing new members coming on board, and we love that and appreciate that. Before I read the Lest We Forget, there was a fight today for the soul of the citizens of America. It was between the President of the United States and the Supreme Court. The President of the United States used such word as, "This is for slave babies." That was not the right terminology to use, I believe, at that time. And so as that fight was being fought and I watched it, he got in anger, walked up and walked out without hearing the final verdict on that. So as a collective member group and everyone in earshot of what I'm saying, if you could just put a little water to the ground tonight, thank the ancestors who fight in this invisible fight for us, sometimes when we can't even lift our arms to fight for ourselves. And we appreciate that. Lest we forget, the spiritual medicine of voodoo brings healing and relief from the shackles of slavery that binds the master and the slave to the same chain of social division. We continue to have work to do, and we are doing the work here in New Orleans International Voodoo Day and the podcast that Divine Prince so eloquently brings to the community. With that, I say, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Good night, everyone. We love you all. We truly do. And we'll be back tomorrow night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Much love. Good night.
Odabo.
Please, allow me to show you something.
They say I'm crazy and that might be true. I got this white in my DNA, yeah, I'm coming for you. It's time we turn the table, strip these motherfuckers on you. I wanna see you hanging from trees, it's time you pay for your dirt and your showtime. You created the monster, you created the beast. Now all this savagery you just gon' reap. I'm coming home, daddy, to the plantation, and I'm taking the lives of everybody, including the children, on some Nat Turner. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. I met my girl Harriet at the gate. If you wanna know how she doing, yeah, she's straight. But she had one question: when we gon' get up? All that talking tough, yeah, we don't walk it tough. She got it locked and loaded, got that piece up on her side. She looked me in my eyes and said, "Meet you ready to ride?" Moving forward, you gotta use both eyes. Watch your front and watch your back. Keep your hands up on your game. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. He sit at the table, but he don't order no bacon. He greet me in those words, assalamu alaikum. Got them glasses on his face and them waves in his head. He go by the name of Detroit Red. He looks me in my eye and says, "You only get one try. Know that your biggest opposition will come from the inside. I know you wanna love them all, but don't even try, because they'll smile up in your face while plotting your demise." Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. We are the children of the ancestors that weren't part of it.